Hello, this is Pat Dunn, and welcome to this session on moving your diabetes. Moving your diabetes includes physical activity in glucose, burning calories, aerobic exercise, resistance training, intensity, staying safe, and getting started. Exercise has an insulin-like effect, so you need to adjust insulin and oral medications accordingly if you're going to be physically active. Hypoglycemia, or a blood sugar of under 80, is the most common problem associated with physical activity. Low-intensity exercise, which is primarily fat-burning exercise, will reduce that risk of hypoglycemia. It's the high-intensity exercise that really burns the carbs and drops the blood sugar. And neuropathy will affect your normal heart rate response to exercise. So you need to use your perceived exertion as opposed to heart rate to determine your intensity of exercise. You should not exercise if your blood sugar is greater than 240. You need to drink water, adjust medicine, and get your blood sugar down before you begin exercise. Also, you should never exercise if ketones are present. The exercise will only make the ketoacidosis worse. You need to address the ketones first, then go back to the exercise. You should take extra good care of your feet. Exercise itself can be hard on your feet, and if you have sores on your feet, the diabetes can really cause a problem. You should never inject insulin directly into your exercising muscles. That can cause the effect to be greater and make your blood sugar drop even more. And you should avoid late evening exercise, or you should treat with a carbohydrate so that your blood sugar does not drop low while you're sleeping. So what can physical activity do? It'll help you lower your blood glucose, your blood pressure, and your cholesterol. And it lowers your risk of heart disease and stroke. It relieves stress. It helps insulin work better. It strengthens your heart, muscles, and bones, improves your circulation and tones your muscles, and it keeps your joints and body flexible. There's different types of fitness. There's cardiovascular fitness, and there's also metabolic fitness. Metabolic fitness is what you really want to focus on, and the focus should be on total energy expenditure. Burning calories is the key, and we want to be burning with exercise between 1,500 and 2,500 additional calories per week. And that equates to between 6,000 and 10,000 steps per day if you use a pedometer. The emphasis should be on low-intensity exercise that maximizes fat utilization and does not result in increased fluctuations in blood glucose. You should be active throughout the day. Just burn calories every chance you get. Walk instead of drive. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Park at the end of the parking lot. Walk around while you're talking on the phone. Work in the garden, rake the leaves, wash the car, and play with your kids. The calorie reality is that it takes 3,500 calories to burn 1 pound of fat, and you burn approximately 100 calories for every mile that you walk or jog. Therefore, you must walk or jog 35 miles for every pound of fat that you want to lose. That may seem kind of discouraging, but it's kind of like playing the stock market. You need to be in for it over the long term. Okay, so for every 250 calories of increased activity that you do, that'll result in 1 pound of weight loss every 14 days. How do you burn calories? Your body burns calories in 3 ways. Through physical activity, through your metabolic rate, and by digesting food. Your metabolic rate accounts for about 75% of your total energy expenditure. Physical activity only accounts for about 20%. So the goal is to increase your metabolic rate, and you do that by exercising, increasing your lean body mass, and doing things to avoid low-calorie diets, which will lower your metabolism. It's good to understand the relationship between the intensity of exercise and the fuel that you're using. Your body basically has 2 fuels. It has fats and carbs or sugar. So have you ever noticed that some people, after they're finished exercising, are very tired and hungry? They may need to, raid the refrigerator and take a nap. The reason for this is they're burning at too high of an intensity and their blood sugar is dropping. On the other hand, some people, when they exercise, they kind of have an energy boost. They're not, tired and hungry, and they can move right into another activity. It's because they're primarily burning fat. Okay, so the goal is to get enough physical activity to be burning calories, but not so high of an intensity that you're burning sugar and lowering your blood sugar. So for metabolic fitness, lower intensity exercise that primarily burns fat is the best. High intensity exercise that is burning carbohydrates can cause a drop in blood sugar, and that can cause fatigue and hunger. Two things you want to try to avoid. So how do you determine the intensity of your physical activity? There's really 4 ways to do it. With the heart rate, and as we've stated, with diabetes you really shouldn't use the heart rate method. We tell people with heart disease to have a target heart rate, but for diabetes, your perceived exertion, which is how hard it feels like, or the talk test, being able to hold a conversation with someone while you're exercising, are probably the 2 best ways to do it. You can also get the workload directly off of some exercise modalities. So the bottom line is you need to listen to your body. While target heart rate can be useful, it's not as useful if you have diabetes. Your breathing should be normal. You shouldn't be hyperventilating or having to catch your breath. And it should be in the brisk to somewhat hard range. So on a scale of 0 to 10, it should be kind of in the 3 to 5 range. Okay, if it shouldn't be hard or very hard. Now, if it's so light that it's, you can read a book literally while you're exercising, then maybe you need to pick it up a little bit. The best judge is the intensity that you have when you're taking a brisk walk. If you're out in the park and the sun's shining and life is good, and that intensity of exercise is about what you should try for, regardless of the modality. The talk test can be a very useful way to measure your intensity. Aerobic exercise, aerobic means with oxygen. That's aerobic. Aerobic means steady state breathing. So if you can't hold a conversation with somebody while you're exercising, you're not in a steady state, and you're not using aerobic exercise. So what kind of exercise are the best? The best activities are being active throughout the day, aerobic activities such as brisk walking, swimming, or dancing. Strength training has a place, and flexibility and stretching exercises are also very important. So the types of movement: breathing, stretching, strengthening, and aerobic exercise. So it's important to understand the difference between aerobic and anaerobic. Your heart is an aerobic muscle. Its energy, therefore, comes from oxygen that it extracts from the blood. That is why aerobic exercise is best for your heart. Any activity in which you're able to maintain normal breathing over a 20 to 30 minute period is considered aerobic. If you're unable to maintain that steady state of breathing, then we call that anaerobic. And anaerobic or resistance training is also good, but it serves a different purpose. It's good to know whether you're bearing weight. So we have weight-bearing and non-weight-bearing activities. Weight-bearing includes walking, jogging, running, stair climbing, and aerobic dance. And we call it weight-bearing because you're literally having to bear your weight through the exercise. Non-weight-bearing activities include bicycle riding, swimming, rowing, using an arm ergometer, and cross-country skiing. So weight-bearing allows you to burn more calories because you have to also do the work of moving your body. The downside to weight-bearing is that it's harder in your joints. So if you have back, knee, or hip problems, then you should probably go more towards non-weight-bearing activities. Probably the best is a combination of weight-bearing and non-weight-bearing. The weight-bearing exercises are also good for your bones. and reduce the risk of osteoporosis. If more than 50% of your day is sitting behind a desk or in front of a computer, then you do not have an active job. Okay, so some people don't get enough physical or recreational activity, but they have active jobs, and that helps. But if you don't have an active job, you need to take walks during your breaks, including lunch. Make time for exercise or recreational activities before or after work. And make time for exercise and recreational activities on the weekends. Leisure time activities are important. They're fun and help with enjoyment of life, but they also help you burn more calories. So does your leisure time activities require movement? If you're plugged into an electronic device, you're probably not as active as you need to be. So, to increase your activity, for every 1 minute that you're engaged in a sedentary leisure activity, like watching TV, you should spend at least 1 minute in an active activity that requires movement. Increase your activity level during sedentary activities, such as riding a stationary bike while you're watching TV. Strength training is also vital. Strength training helps you build your bones and muscles. You should do strength training several times a week. You can lift weights at home. You can join a class or do strength training exercise using elastic tubes or bands. The basics for strength training include overload. You've got to work the muscle. There's no magic to this, so you do have to actually overload the muscle. You should progress, meaning that each time you should try to do a little bit more. You need specificity. So if you're trying to work on your abdominal muscles, you need to be exercising those muscles. And you need to have a rest and recovery period. Some people don't get enough rest and recovery between exercise sessions, and your muscles get overly fatigued and stop increasing in strength. Strength training is helpful not only for your muscles and bones, it also helps with your body composition, meaning that it helps you burn fat. Other basics include a warm-up. Some people forget to warm up, and that can be a mistake. The pace. It does no good to lift weights fast. You should be under control and not going too fast. You need to breathe. If you're not breathing, if you're holding your breath, then the pressure inside your chest can increase tremendously and put you at increased risk for a heart attack or a stroke. And your posture. Again, cheating doesn't help anybody, so you need to use good form and good posture with your strength training activities. Flexibility exercises. Stretching helps keep the joints flexible, reduces your chance of injury. You should stretch for 5 to 10 minutes as part of your warm-up and your cool-down activities. Stretching will help prevent injuries, help you relax, and it also is good for your circulation. The best time to stretch is after your exercise session. It's good to warm up before the session, do your exercise, and then stretch afterwards. Hold each stretch for 20 to 30 seconds. And no bouncing. Bouncing will only increase your chance of injuring those muscles and soft tissues. And you need to focus on your breathing. How do you get started? Well, you should always, especially with diabetes, you should have a medical checkup and make sure that it's safe for you to exercise. In almost every case, exercise will be safe and beneficial, but it's good to get that checkup first and know what you're doing before you start. Review the symptoms of a low blood glucose and know how to treat it. Plan how to have water and snacks handy. If you start to go low, your blood sugar starts to drop, you should have some carbohydrates readily available. You should always wear medical identification, so if you were to go down, if someone finds you, they'll know that you have diabetes and they know that you need to get help fast. And you should always wear well-fitting shoes. What are the components of a workout? Sometimes people just go exercise and they forget that there should be somewhat of a structure to this. So there should always be a warm-up, which means gradually increasing the intensity of your exercise over a 3 to 5 minute period. There should be an aerobic component, which is continuous and rhythmic activity that lasts anywhere between 20 and 45 minutes. The resistance phase, using the large muscle groups, 1 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps, 3 to 4 times per week, and should focus on full range of motion. A stretching phase should be static stretching of the large muscle groups and your back. And then finally a cool down, which is gradually decreasing the intensity of your exercise over a 3 to 5 minute period. Almost all of the risks associated with exercising, including having a heart attack or a stroke, occur during the warm-up and cool-down phases, or frankly during the lack of the warm-up and cool-down phase. So if you do a good warm-up and do a cool-down, there's very, very little risk of having a serious health problem while exercising. It's important to be safe when you exercise. Exercise can be wonderful, but also harmful if proper precautions are not taken. Wear appropriate footwear, including a good arch support and proper tread. Wear clothing appropriate to the weather. Drink plenty of water before, during, and after exercise. Always do a proper warm-up and cool-down. Always use good technique when performing exercises. When lifting weights, never hold your breath. This can also be the source of risk. If you hold your breath while you're lifting weights, the pressure inside your chest rises dramatically, increasing your chance of a heart attack and a stroke. And finally, always let your doctor know immediately if you have any symptoms, especially chest pain, during exercise. So what are the keys to exercise? The key is to be active. It doesn't matter if you're in a gym. What matters with diabetes is burning calories. So the more opportunities you have to burn calories, the better off you're going to be. It's good to do a variety of types of exercises, including aerobic, strength training, and flexibility exercises. And those can be done in recreational forms or in formal exercises. And you should monitor how your body responds to exercise. Know what your blood sugar does, and also be aware of any symptoms that may occur, such as chest pain, shortness of breath, dizziness or lightheadedness, or swelling in your legs or hands. Our next session will be on trimming your diabetes, and this includes the calorie reality, portion sizes, and dieting.